Hey, Magic Makers. I have a great guest for you today. Her name is Breia White, and we talked all about breath work. And breath work is something I had no idea what the heck it was until about 2 years ago. And once I found it, I was like, ooh la la, this is my jam, right? For me, I struggled to really get into meditation. Like meditation, I've really wanted to try meditation. I really want to be like, release myself. And I could never get into meditation. I don't know, I just could never get over the quieting of my mind part. And we talk about that today in our podcast. We talk about how, breath work gets us over that hump, right? It gives our minds something to do, some busy work, if you will, as we're starting to get to the release. Breia is I'm going to screw this up by saying a pranayama breath certified I think it's just certified. Yeah, that's it. She also is certified with the Wim Hof Method. And we did, at the end of this podcast, we did the Wim Hof Method. We just did one round. And after it, man, I think I saw the air. I was just so transported. It felt freaking amazing. So do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Listen all the way through to the end, because that's where you'll be able to experience what breathwork really is and see how you can incorporate it into your life. I know many of us in these crazy times, right? We are feeling stressed. We are feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you have looked to meditation and just haven't been able to stick with it. I know that I use breathwork as a way to fall asleep. Now with what we just did today, I'm going to be using breathwork as a way to start off my day. So as always, have a listen and do me a favor. When you finish that exercise, reach out to me. Let me know how you felt, because I felt so good and energized after it. All right, here is the episode. Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock-steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, Magic Makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show. Hey ladies, you can have a guilt-free summer even if you love wine. I hear you. You want to stick with your diet this summer, but 2020 sucked out loud and you want to do all of the things. You've given yourself the same mental pep talk year after year, and you tell yourself, this is the year I'm going to stick to my diet no matter how good the brownies look. You're not going to fall victim to peer pressure. Seriously, you're a grown-ass woman. You've got two superpowers, willpower and discipline, and they've never let you down before. All right, seriously, we've all done that pep talk, right? Guess what? This is the year that you are going to give up the Spanx and not let that plate of brownies bring you to your knees. I have created a guilt-free summer guide where I break down how that you can enjoy your summer with any of the guilt or shame about what you're eating or drinking and still enjoy your summer. So ladies, I'm laying it out there for you. You got a few choices. You can continue to do keto. You could chase your tail trying to string 75 good days together for the 75 hard, or be miserable eating 1,200 calories. Or you can grab the guilt-free summer guide so that you are not avoiding all of the things that you want to do this summer, and you finally are giving yourself peace of mind for not stressing out over, am I doing enough? So grab the guilt-free summer guide right now. Hey, Magic Makers. Let's just say this call has been a call that I wrote on my board back in 2019. I am talking about breath work. And some of you are like, what? Breath what? I breathe. I know how to breathe. No, you don't. And it came up for me when I first started working with my massage therapist. Like, she would tell me to take a deep breath before we started to breathe, before we started to do work. And literally, like, I think I couldn't go past like my throat. And she would just laugh at me, and she would literally force me to breathe. And then I went to a conference, and this woman really took us through all about breath work. And it was something for me that I felt was accessible, that I could do in 5 minutes versus meditation. And after those 5 minutes, I felt really amazing. So I had to find someone to talk about this stuff. So I have Miss Breia White, and let me just tell you, she is fabulous. She comes to this from Kundalini yoga, as well as, I'm going to butcher this Indian name. So should I even try it? Pranayama breathwork. So I'm going to let her do all the Indian names, and I'm just going to use regular talk because I'm good there. And welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Kim. And I absolutely understand the pronunciation, because I was like, prana what?
And I, every time I've taken a yoga class, I was like, this is why I am not a yoga instructor. I would totally fail at, I'm like, I am the ugly American. I would be like butchering the words all the time.
I feel you on that. No worries, no worries. We'll get it right. We'll get it right.
So let's take a step back and talk about breathwork, and then I want to talk about how you came to breathwork, because it's not exactly like I feel like there's like a yoga studio in every corner, but like 10 years ago that wasn't the case.
Right.
So like what is breathwork?
So listen, in the yogic tradition, which is where I found it initially, in the yoga community, it's known as pranayama. Right. And so pranayama is basically like the art, like the simplest way I've been able to describe it is just the art of breath control. So when you break pranayama, when you break the word down, it's like prana means life force, right? It means energy, and yama means like to stretch, like expansion, lengthen. And so when you get into especially in these kind of deep breathwork practices, you can really feel that stuff, right? You can actually feel those things happening. So under that pranayama umbrella, there are all these different kinds of breathing techniques that exist that can enhance your mood, can reduce stress, provide focus, provide mental clarity, like emotional release, like you name it, like there's a breathwork technique for it.
So what I found surprising is that, I came to it at this conference and I didn't know what the hell it was. And for like 5 minutes, she took us through, she's like, hold for this amount of counts, breathe for this amount of counts. And in 5 minutes, I was like, whew, I felt like, like the world had been like lifted off of my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And so now you're telling me there's multiple ways to breathe. And I had no idea.
Yeah. Yes, you can get lost. You can get lost in it. Yeah.
So is breathing similar to, I'm going to equate it to yoga because I think most people can understand that. So it's like in yoga, there's as the premise, yoga is basically the same, but there are different practices within yoga. So would breathwork fall into like the same category?
Yes, I would say yes, just from the practices that I've encountered, like, like one of the practices that I do and I teach is really for emotional release, right? So that's basically what it's designed to do. And in Kundalini yoga, like I said, they've got in that practice, there's so many different techniques to kind of get like whatever goal you're trying to reach. So yeah, I would say that it's definitely like that. Like things like holotropic breathing is also like an emotional release practice.
Right.
You're doing the Wim Hof Method. For me, I use that breath work a lot for focus, for stress relief for sure. So yeah, it definitely falls in some categories.
Gotcha. Because I was like, I guess like anything, you think one size fits all, but that's not the case. And as you were kind of laying out, there are breathing techniques for varying emotional states. Mm-hmm. And so, I know that the woman who I learned it from, she did it for anxiety.
For anxiety. Yeah.
And so as soon as she felt those feelings, she was like, I got to breathe. Like, this is how I'm going to get through this feeling, is to breathe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, you're talking about like the breath directly affects your central nervous system, right? So you are through the breathing, you are essentially controlling how your nervous system reacts. So, in the nervous system, you've got like two modes, right? You've got your parasympathetic system, or your parasympathetic state, which is like your rest. We call it the rest and digest state. It's like that state where you just, it's Netflix and chill, right? Right. And then you've got your sympathetic state, where that's like, if you were getting attacked by a bear, like that's heightened, right? So what the breath work allows us to do is tap into, like, it allows us to tap into those systems. So when your girl's like, hey, I gotta calm down, you're in that kind of heightened sympathetic state. So you use that breath work and be like, you know what, I'm going to just take some breaths. They're like, gonna work on it and get into slow my breathing down, slow my heart rate down, in order to get into that parasympathetic, that rest and digest state. So does that make sense? Yeah,
no, it totally makes sense. And I think that's why, many of us kind of get, especially nowadays, it's trying to get yourself at that, like, level playing field can be challenging. And I think for many of us, it's hard to, we all get all like hopped up and amped up, and it's hard to like find something that's, I don't know, I'm going to call it simple to just get from that like excited state down to what would be a level state.
Absolutely. And, and here's the thing, it's actually not hard to find, because you just got to be looking for it. People don't have the awareness around breath work. It's like, it's not hard to find at all. So, and it is so easy to do. We do it all day, we do it all day, every day.
Well, and that's one of the things I thought was the interesting part is like, like I started the show, my massage therapist, she is very like, in tune with bodies and so forth. And I absolutely love her, because I need those people in my life, because I'm like, go, 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 go. And I need those people to be like, pull me by the ponytail and be like, can you just slow your ass down for like one hot second? And when she's like, Kim, take a deep breath. And I literally I was like, and I'm like, I did it. She goes, did you?
Did you though?
And she was like, okay. She goes, I want you to like breathe it as long as you possibly can. And she's like, I want you to feel it down to like your belly button. Yeah, that's a deep breath. And I was like, is it? And it's like, it's nice to have those people who challenge you on that stuff, because I know a lot of the women who are here, right? We're busy. We got kids, work, we're homeschooling them. We're like trying to figure out like all the virus crap, wiping all our shit down. And so it's very easy for us to just be like, breathing. If I'm alive, I'm breathing. So, why would I stop and focus on this?
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at my sheet. So there's a couple of things, right? Scientific, like some stuff, just in regards to like your body, right? Some benefits from the breath work, right? You can increase kind of like your vascular plasticity, we call it. So just like the veins and stuff in your body, you can, with the breath work, you can really work that like a muscle. And so you work it like a muscle. And hang on one sec. Hang on one sec. It's so funny because it's like I'm a television editor, so I've been working at home a lot. So I'm like, I haven't talked to a whole lot of people. So this is one of my first podcast back. But
I know that feeling.
Yeah. But here we go. We're talking about benefits of breath work, right? So actually let's just go with super relatable. Again, you're talking about being able to control your nervous system, which is one of the biggest reasons why I got into the breathwork game in the first place. Like I was dealing with a ton of stress. So if you can, it's almost like you can work your nervous system like a lever, like a lever, you know? So again, we're talking about switching back and forth into those systems, into the sympathetic versus parasympathetic. So it's like you want to have control over that, right? So one of my teachers, yoga teachers, he's like, everybody is walking around like an overinflated tire.
Ooh.
Right? And he was like, and you engage in these practices to help let some of that air out. Like this is like a tire pressure gauge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and if you don't practice those things, you're gonna pop. Right. You're gonna walk around and all of a sudden, you're like a Karen, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you don't start to learn how to work your system, hack your system.
Right.
Then, like I said, you're going to be walking around like an overinflated tire. And at any point, like that energy has got to be expressed. So
yes. Yeah. That I think is the perfect example of it. Cause I think about, I use this example a lot for when people have this all or nothing mindset. Either I'm eating all the good food or I'm not eating all the good food. And I use the example of, well, if you had one flat tire, would you run around and slash all your tires? Or would you just focus on the flat tire? And so it's the same thing. If my tire is overinflated and I just keep adding pressure and pressure and pressure to it, it's eventually going to pop. And so breath work is your way of, taking the pressure out of that tire so that we start to get a little bit of, I'm going to use this word, but I'm still struggling to see if we can find it. Balance, equilibrium.
Right.
But I like that analogy a lot. So you kind of mentioned, and it's here in my questions. How did you came to breathwork when you were in a stressful period of your life?
I did. So I've been in the breathwork game since like 2013. But there were a couple of things that actually led me to breathwork. One of which happened to be CrossFit. And I know you talk a lot about fitness on this channel. And he's like, I found CrossFit back in like 2011.
Right.
And huge fan, man, just love the methodology, love the community, all the things. Right. And I loved it so much, I wanted to compete. Yeah. And, and I was at the time, I think I was like in my mid 30s. And I was at a, and you know how Oprah talks about, if you can see it, you can be it.
Right. So you were like, oh.
I know. I was like, let's go. And like, I was at a premier box, one of the premier boxes in the country at the time. We had 4 CrossFit Games athletes, all women in our space. So they were all my coaches. So I was just like, people that I admired and learned from. So I was like, let's go. So you can imagine, like back in 2011, like there wasn't a whole lot of emphasis placed on moderation.
Right. No, not at all. Not at all.
So it was like, go hard, go heavy, go fast, or go home. Right. So, and I was going, so just imagine, right? I was going like 5 to 6 days a week. Again, this is my community. So I was like, I was ride or die. And sometimes I was going 2 a days. And I was doing that for almost like a year and a half. So guess what started happening?
Oh, your body was like, girlfriend, can we sit down?
Girl, it's like my body started breaking down. Right, I was like,
I want to move out. I just don't want to, like, you come home and there's no furniture.
It was bad. Like I developed like chronic knee pain. I got plantar fasciitis in my feet, just overuse injuries.
Oh, absolutely.
If you ever dealt with plantar fasciitis, I would wish that on my worst enemy.
Oh my God. Like getting out of bed, I would like have to like give myself a pep talk.
Yes. Yes. You'd be like, it's going to be all right. Just got to go to the bathroom. It's all right.
Right.
But I'd strained my big toe, like doing some workout. And then, you know how I was like, I keep using Oprah, but Oprah talks about like when the universe knocks, it's like, hey,
Yes.
the universe was knocking, and then it's like a knock a little louder. Then it might give you a shove.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole brick wall falls down on you. So I got to where the brick wall fell down on me. So I ended up tearing my rotator cuff during one of the open workouts, trying to compete. And so and thank God I didn't tear it so bad that I needed surgery, but I was definitely sidelined. Like I was, go from like strict pressing at 80 pounds overhead to like not being able to lift a 15-pound training bar. Like that's humbling.
Yeah. Oh, right? So humbling. Yeah.
Humbling.
I hurt my shoulder last year. So I totally know that you're just like, and it's taking me to this year to get back to like, I'm now at 12s. And I was like, oh my God, this feels like training wheels, but it feels so good.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time for that kind of injury to repair itself. And so I was broken, like just physically, just in a lot of pain. And then the other thing that was going on, I'm here in LA. I work in TV. I'm a television editor by trade. And I was completely disenchanted with my career at that point in time. So, as like I do a lot of home improvement stuff, like that stuff is like my bread and butter. But, industry's no joke. Like the hours can be super tough. The deadlines, just make work-life balance completely non-existent. You're dealing with network executives who aren't very kind in their critique. So
there's no like HR words for them.
Right. Right. So I was just bone weary, and I couldn't deal with the stress. So coupled with that chronic pain, right? And basically having that, what the F am I doing with my life moment.
Oh, you can say salty talk here.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to.
Yes.
But sometimes those words like are absolutely appropriate.
I think it's an appropriate adjective, because sometimes you're like, there's no other word to describe it.
Exactly. So I was going through a massive depression, like just like on the verge of barely functioning. And I remember there was a moment where I was sitting at my computer. I was at this real like soul sucking gig, and I was at my computer, and I couldn't even bring myself to like make one cut. I was like making one cut every like 10 minutes, which is no way to edit.
Right. So you're gonna be here all night.
I know, all night, all day, all night. And it was that moment. I was like, I promised myself, I was like, Breia, after this gig is over, I had a couple of weeks left. I was like, after this gig is over, I was like, we got to stop everything. I was like, we cannot be living life like this. This is no way to be living. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. So stop everything, go find something to get me out of this state. Right. So, I was like, I don't drink, I don't pop pills, I don't smoke, like all those vices. I was like, I got to find like a natural way to do this. And so I did. I left CrossFit. I left work, and I had some saves in the bank, and, thank God for my dad, because he actually works in mental health. And so he knows how serious this thing can really get. And so he was just like, I remember that phone call. He was just like, baby, listen, I just want you to feel better. So whatever it is you got to do, I'm here. And that was just, it gave me just so much relief. So I started going to therapy on the regular, and that was helping. And then one therapy session, I love my therapist. Good. Anybody says therapy is, is not valid, I was like, oof, no, it's 100% valid. But my therapist was like, hey, you know what? Now that you can, I was working with PT and like trying to get my body back together. And she was like, well, now that you can kind of like move your shoulder and stuff, she was like, she was like, I think you should really go try Kundalini yoga. And I was like, okay. I was like, Kundalini what? First of all. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll look it up. And from the outside looking in, Kundalini yoga is a little weird. Like, do you know about Kundalini yoga at all?
I've taken like a couple of classes. So it's
Okay.
So why don't you tell for those people who aren't as enlightened as myself? And you guys know I'm kidding about being enlightened.
Here's the thing, Kundalini. So it's different from other practices. Like I said, outside looking in, like there's a lot of people that wear white. There's a lot of people, wear turbans. So it looks a little odd. But the thing that I found out, and then, I loved about Kundalini yoga is that they use a lot of different modalities in that practice. Right. So, as opposed to like hatha yoga, you're reaching enlightenment or, whatever that pinnacle is by doing like a series of movements. Like Kundalini yoga has got mantra, where you're chanting kind of these sacred words to get you in that space. They've got you using different type of different mudras, which are, different kind of hand positionings. And asanas, like they've got you in different postures and poses to help get you there. But the other big component of that practice is breath work.
Gotcha.
So, and that's where I discovered breath work. So yeah, I go, oh, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I did. So I guess of all the varying yoga practices, there's more, I guess, spirituality to Kundalini.
I would absolutely agree with that. Definitely. Because
I feel like the handful of classes that I have done with Kundalini, there was more, just kind of like being more into you, taking the time to just kind of figure out you, versus how many sun salutations can you do? Yeah. Right. Yeah, and so I guess for people who are kind of exploring, like, what's different than the yoga I do at my studio, I think it's for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, sure, downward dogs are fine. Well, okay, not really.
Not really.
Good for one. I'm good for one salutation. After that, I don't understand it. And so for people who are yoga people, school me on why I should do more than one salutation. More than one salutation. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so school me if I'm open to being, because I am that ignorant person. So, but with Kundalini, it was kind of, I think what breathwork also helps is like, so many of us get outside of our body. And as you talked about CrossFit, and a lot of people who are listening to this can identify with, like, go big or go home. Like that was just like what all of us were indoctrinated with when we started working out. Like that was always the way. Right. And now, and I want to say I want to thank CrossFit, because I think so many people got burnt out by it. That like, even though I think what lures you into thinking you could do more is that the CrossFit workout wasn't this like 2-hour workout. It was like, it was a 5-minute, like real quick, or like 10-minute. Right. It was like no more than 20-minute workout. And you're like, 20 minutes? How hard could it be? And then, on the floor, right, gasping for air. But then you're like, well, I was only here for 20 minutes and we only did as many, thrusters as we could every minute on the minute. So I should throw in blah, blah, blah. And then you see all these CrossFit athletes and they're ripped and, they're just like hardcore, and you're like, oh, I want to be that. I want to be that. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's hard to take your ego and separate. It's like your ego takes over and your body is like, hang on. I'm trying to catch up. Right. And, I wasn't a CrossFitter, but I did fitness competitions, and it's the same way. Like you're just chasing the next thing without taking, as Kundalini does and as breathwork, ever taking stock, what's happening, do a scan. Where are you? What is screaming? Absolutely. Well, Kundalini just allows you to be in communion with your body. Right. Yeah. And there's no other workout out there that says, hey girl, how you doing today? There's no workout. Feeling? Yeah. No workout that I've been in fitness for 18 years. There's never a time I've ever said, hey, do you feel good enough to work out today? Like, it's like, it's a badge of honor. Like, oh, I can't wash my hair. Oh, I can't sit on the toilet. Like, it's a badge of honor to like go hard, where I feel like now, a few people, because many of us have like hit that brick wall going 100 miles an hour and like broke ourselves, that we're now it's like, yeah, you don't want any of this, because
don't want any of that.
The road to recovery sucks.
And it's long. It is long.
Very long. And like, and just as people who like to diet, right? Like 30 days to this. No, if you like bust your ass, there's no 30 days to nothing. It's 30 days to being like, can I lift my arm over my head? Or, 30 days to be like, can I get out of bed without my feet hurting?
Right. Absolutely. I have experienced all of it.
Right. So I wanted to really dig into origin story, because I want people to understand that I don't know, if you just woke up and you're like, oh, I want to be a Kundalini, great, awesome. But many people come to these things because they had some trauma in their life.
Yeah.
Right. And let me just clarify. I'm not going to downplay like really like serious trauma, but I feel like many of the people who listen here, the traumas we have are self-inflicted. Right. I'm a former workaholic. I'm a recovering
perfectionist.
Right. I'm a recovering over exerciser. Like I'm in deep recovery. Right. So
Yes.
Right.
Well, and so, and the other thing is like, this stuff, it also helps you like bring awareness to that type of stuff, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
And I absolutely love that you went there. Awareness, because I think because it's our society. It's go, 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 go. And until you take even one step back to say what is happening, so that you can make better decisions. Because when you're in the thick of it, you ain't making decisions. It's all about like survival. You're running for your life.
Running for your life. Yeah.
And I think, I know, at least for me, and maybe, before you had this epiphany, and maybe you've had another epiphany since then, Corona. I like, the world was told to sit down. You had no choice.
Yeah.
Nothing was open. You couldn't go anywhere. And so you had to be with yourself.
Yeah.
And it taught me like, I need to slow down even more than what I was doing. And I'm grateful for that. And so, I'm hopeful that, you had that burnout moment. I had a burnout moment. Then Corona came and I slowed down. Then Corona made me slow down even more. And it's just like, do we have to always have these like crises to make us to
make us slow down? Well, here's the thing though. It's hard to sit with that stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit. So, you asking people to sit with discomfort, basically. Right. So I get it. It's like nobody wants to sit with that. That's why we're busy. That's why we stay busy.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Corona, like the Rona, as my best friend's nephew.
I call it Rona all the time.
Oh, you call it Rona? The Rona. It has brought a lot of terrible things, but this moment of pause, has been absolutely needed. Absolutely needed.
Yeah. And, I like what you said, this moment of pause. It's a good thing. Yeah, I've been calling it Rona because it's like, it's such a pain in the ass. And I'm like, Rona, it's like, that friend that you've just had for a really long time. It's like that friend that you've had for a really long time and you've always been friends, and she's a pain in the ass, but you've been friends for too long. So you just know she's a pain in the ass.
Right. And then sometimes she'd be dropping jewels. You'd be like, okay.
Right. Yeah. And you're like, I mean, and I could be that friend for some people. I'm throwing it out there. I could be a Rona. So like, there's Karens, there's Ronas.
There's Ronas. Right.
So you came to Kundalini. They're really into the breath work, and then you're like, holy crap, this is amazing stuff. And so from there, did you kind of take a deeper dive into the breath work? Because I know you're doing stuff. You were doing stuff with Well, let me tell you how I originally found you.
Okay.
I was Googling. So I'm a big fan of cryotherapy, right?
Okay.
So my cryotherapy place, like they moved too far from my house, so I don't do cryotherapy anymore. So I was like Googling like cryotherapy, and I saw this video of taking like cold therapy. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, cold. Yeah.
Cold therapy. And I was like, what is that? So I like at Google, and then they're like, oh, you could do it yourself. So then I found you on YouTube and like this like inflatable thing that you had in your backyard.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So first of all, my husband will be like, okay, what crazy ass thing is she doing now? And then I was like, all right, that seems a little too much work for like a couple of minutes. I'm going to go back to Googling cryotherapy. Because the whole time I'm dry.
I hear you.
So that's how I found you.
That's how you found me. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, those videos are fun to do. But you know, I like before I got into, so you were talking about doing cold training. That's right. That's the Wim Hof method. But before I found the Wim Hof method, after Kundalini yoga, like you said, I was like totally enamored with breath work. I felt that it was the most efficient. I'm all about efficiency and effectiveness, right? So it's the most efficient, the fastest way for me to get relief, right? So, and a buddy of mine for my birthday, she was like, hey, you know, I want to take you to this breath work seminar. They're teaching this breath called the pranayama 2-stage breath. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, totally down for it. So I go to this practice and Kim, in 1 hour, girl, not even 1 hour, that breath had me like, gave me all the feels. I was like, wow, this breath work is the one that actually changed the trajectory of what I was doing. Wow. The experience was like, all the conditioning, like all that stuff that made me feel less than, all the self-doubt, all the self-imposed limitations, all the insecurities, like just left, like they were no longer there. And you know, have you ever seen Avatar? Did you see Avatar?
Yeah.
So you know that ending scene where what's his face is like trying to, I'm sorry, what's his face? You know, the guy, he's like trying to,
the main guy.
Yeah, the main guy. He's trying to get into his avatar from his human self, and it like everybody's surrounding him, and like, you know, everybody's connected into the earth or you know, into the planet, and it's like, I was like, it was there. It was during that breathing that I felt the oneness. Right, I had a clear vision of who I was. I felt free for the first time. I felt like true peace. So like peace that, you know, that you read about. You read about the monks up in the Himalayas doing that work. You're just like, oh, I could never get there. You know, it's like, I'm trying my best, but like, you know, I don't have 10 years to spend in a cave by myself. But that was the type of freedom. That was the type of peace that I had experienced. And when I got out of that practice, I was like, I turned to my friend and I was like, where has this been all my life? Like, this is it. Like, this is it. I need to dive deep. I need to like learn how to teach this, spread the word, like all the things.
Yeah. You're like, I need to be a disciple here.
It was like, yes, it's like, sign me up. Here's my money. So I began, I ended up studying with the healer that basically put that practice here in LA on the map. And started training with him, and then started teaching, began teaching that. And through that, I also, you know, I was thinking, you know, like I said, I wasn't feeling going back to work, like going back to TV, basically. And I was like, oh, you know, I need to do something. Like I need to bring in some income. And so I was like, you know what, I really love CrossFit. And I was kind of back in it very gently, you know, just like not being crazy. And so I went and signed up to do the level 1 teacher training. And in that teacher training, I got paired with a guy. He was a CrossFit coach over in Santa Monica. And he was like, hey, do you know about this guy named Wim Hof? And I was like, he was like, I know you're into breath work. Like this guy does breath work. And I was like, Wim Hof. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. Listen, he's this crazy Dutch guy from the Netherlands. They call him the Iceman. And he was like, you got to watch this documentary Vice did on him. And so I was like, okay, bet I'll watch it. So instead of studying for my level 1, I was like, watching that video. And as soon as I saw that video of him, so, he's known as the Iceman because he can do like incredible feats, right. In cold weather and even in warm weather. But he was, climbing up this mountain with nothing but his shorts on and a headband. And I was like, that's it. Like, that's next level for me. Like, I want to be so in tune with my emotions and body, have that level of control. It's like, if you can master that kind of stress, then you can master anything. Right.
Yeah.
So like that next day I signed up for the academy. I was like, I'm gonna go learn how to do this. I'm going to go, I was like, I made it an intention. I was just like, I'm going to be in Poland. I'm going to be climbing that mountain in a year. Like that's happening. Happening.
So in order to train with him, you have to go to Poland?
No. So here's the thing. You don't have to go to Poland.
Oh, okay.
At the time, well, you don't have to do it now. At the time, that year that I had signed up to be a part of the academy, it was actually the very first year that they were allowing U.S. to train U.S. instructors.
Oh,
so I got lucky because before then it was all over in Europe. You actually did have to go over to Poland and over to Amsterdam to go learn from him.
Gotcha.
So he would fly over here and or he would fly over here and, be a part of the big workshops. And at the time, there was only, I think our graduating class was like maybe like 20 and like 30 people. So, yeah. But so what I did, so he would come over here and, we'd do sessions and stuff with him here. And the master trainer at the time, Casper Vandemolen. And, but I was so determined to go to Poland that instead of graduating with my class, I went and graduated with the Europeans because I was like, I'm gonna climb this mountain. I'm gonna go do
right. Exactly.
Yeah. So and the experience was beautiful. It was hard. I've got lifelong friendships from that whole entire experience. I've got a place to stay anywhere around the world, which is amazing. But for me, the Wim Hof Method, I felt like I got control of the steering wheel. So at the end of that, my emotions, they don't run me. My mind doesn't run me. Like I've got the tool, and it's like not saying that I'm not human. There are definitely days where I'm like, but I've got the tools to kind of snap out of that quicker. So I don't spend weeks and months, feeling crappy because I can control it. But here's the thing. So the miracle is though, after I got back from Poland, I got a call from a producer friend of mine. He was just like, "Hey, Breia, we'd love to have you on this show." And so I was like, you know what? I want to go and test this. Like, I want to go see like all this work that I've been doing. I want to go see if it translates into this world, right? And so I go back on this gig, and it's a tough gig, right? But the people are wonderful, but the gig is tough. And so all the stresses were the same, right? The deadlines were still crazy. You are still kind of dealing with crazy network executives.
Right.
And the stuff, it was like Teflon. I was like Teflon, just like if things would come into my bay, come in my office, people would just be like hair on fire. And I'd just be like, we're good. It's cool. Like, it's going to be fine, and people and my colleagues couldn't believe me. They were just like, how can you not be freaking out about this stuff? They'd be like, what are you doing that is making you so calm? And I'm just like, it's as simple as breathing. It's as simple as some cold training. Like it's not that hard. It's not that hard. But it was eye-opening. I was like, okay, this shit works. It absolutely works.
All right. So you said a lot of stuff.
Okay.
That I'm like, most people are like, okay, you went from like, whoa, And you like go to Poland and you go back to work and you're like, what you got? I can take it. And like, what else you got? Right? And so I know so many people are like, dude, I need some of that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a step back. So we did breath work. And you're like, you found your avatar.
Yeah.
And ladies, I'm going to hook that scene up in the show notes because if you haven't seen Avatar, and I get it, it's like a 5-hour movie. So James Cameron does not know how to be brief. So I'll hook that up so you can see the scene and you're like, all right. And so the first question I'm going to have you is that many people think meditation gets you there, right? That and I know that I have many people who are like, oh, meditation. Woo! Mm-hmm. And I know I've tried to meditate and I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at my watch and I'm like tapping my fingers and trying to find that like you said you found that place.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about breath work that helps you to get to that place?
So for me, the breath bypasses the mind, right? I use it like it is my number one go-to when I cannot get my mind to calm down, right? When all the thoughts are just taking over. It's like the breath, we use the breath as a tool to bypass it, right? To get you into that no mind space, to get you into that, that emptiness. So that's what it's designed to do. And which is why when you do the breathing, it's easier for you to get into meditation, so to speak.
Yeah,
right?
I agreed. Because I feel like when you're sitting there and you're not doing anything, but like my mind should be empty, my mind should be blank. Like that's when you start to freak out and you just say, "Oh, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore."
Right.
But when you're sitting there and you're counting your breaths, it gives you, it's kind of like
your mind something to do.
It's
right.
Like
your mind's just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's like when you're sitting in a waiting room. Well, we can't do this anymore. But when you're sitting in a waiting room and there's magazines, it passes the time.
Right. It gives your like your mind is just doing its job. Right. It's taking care of you in that way, and you have to direct it. You have to direct it. So, when you use the breath work or when you use the counting or whatever, you are basically giving your mind something to focus on. Right. So.
Right. And ladies, stay tuned to the end because we are going to do a breath thing so that you're like, she's been talking about it. I don't know what the hell it is. Don't worry about it. Hang on. All right. So then the second thing you said is like, okay, you're like, all right, I'm going to ease my way back into CrossFit and do it in a smart way. Mm-hmm. And then you meet this guy and he's like, hey, you're into breathwork. Have you ever heard of this guy, Wim Hof? And you're like, who?
Yeah.
So tell people who Wim Hof is.
So Wim is like that crazy uncle you got in your family.
I'm gonna put a picture of him because he totally looks like the guy who, like, if you're running through the forest and you like stumble across him, you're like, am I afraid or is he gonna save me?
Right. So you see any videos with him, he's like that elder, where you just like, he's like, oh, don't pay him no mind. It's like, that's just, Uncle Charlie being Uncle Charlie, right? He's got a larger than life personality, ain't scared, don't care. I think he's got like one t-shirt and he probably got it for free. Like he's that guy, right?
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing, when you are around him, he is serious about changing the world. Like he is serious in his belief that breath work and cold is the key to solving a whole host of ailments, mental and physical. So when you talk to him, he does, it's like, you do feel inspired. You do feel like you can kind of go off and conquer the world. But the other thing is, like, when you do talk to him one-on-one, you also recognize that he's just a dude. Like, he's just a guy. He's just a regular human being. Although he is a master at what he does, like, he is a regular person, just like you and me. He, like, that's just gone through some stuff, right?
I love people like that.
Yeah. And the thing is, we actually, when we teach, we don't necessarily focus on him because we focus more on the practice, because it's more about how you engage with the work, right? To realize, we're talking about like realizing the guru in you. So to reveal the guru in you. So it's like, it's interesting because people idolize him and,
and he doesn't want any of that. He's like, it's the work.
I'm telling you, it's funny because one time I was talking to him and in one of our trainings, and he was like, I don't even want my name on it, like anymore. It's like, I just want people to focus in on the work. But it's like he's now a recognized brand, basically. So
Right.
In order for people like to get interested, it's like he's like, okay, well, keep it on there, but that's not what he's about. Right. So but as a kid and young adult, he was always fascinated, with spirituality, different religions. So he studied everything, and he did everything. He tried everything. So right. Buddhism, Christianity, yoga, like the whole thing. And he talks about how, when he talks about how he came into the method, he said that he was out walking in the cold, which, I'm from Texas and I live in California. And I was like, I was already like, I don't understand why.
You're out in the cold.
I was like, why?
He's from the Netherlands, yes?
He is from the Netherlands. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's what they do. I was like, I didn't understand that until I actually went there and I saw, I was like, all these people out doing that. And I was like, okay. But he says he was out walking and the cold, he was out walking by the lake and the cold called to him. Right. And someone who is very in tune with their intuition and trust their intuition, he just followed the voice and he got into the water. And what he discovered was, when he got his body under control, he found immense clarity, immense peace in those moments, just complete presence. Right. So he kept doing it, kept getting into the cold every day. And he started developing the breathing technique to kind of handle the shock. And over time, it's been refined. So, through the cold and the breathing, he was starting to quickly understand how to basically hack his system to do some amazing things.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So, he's he holds the Guinness World Book record of being encased in ice for up to 2 hours and, keeping his core body temperature stable. He's climbed the death zone at Mount Everest with no Sherpa, nothing but his shorts, it's incredible stuff like that. He ran a marathon in the Sahara Desert. He's got that kind of control over his body. But, oh no, go ahead.
And so he's got that kind of control of his body, but it's more about him using his breath in whatever situation he's in.
Yes. Well, he has developed his, here's the thing, breath work and cold training, breathing in cold, it's not anything new, but he has, he's basically
hacked the method for it. So
and made it widely available.
Right. So I could spend, decades trying to do the same thing, or I could, look at what he's already done and try it and be like, oh crap, he's already built a better mousetrap.
Let me get that Cliff Notes.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah.
No, that is, I like fascinating people. He's just like you said, he's the crazy uncle, but the crazy uncle is crazy because they've just been through some shit, and you either turn it around or you learn from it, or you're just a crazy uncle that lives in the back bedroom.
Exactly. and he has like I said, in regards to some of the the stuff that he's been through, he actually just got through releasing a book, but his wife committed suicide. She was dealing with a lot of I can't remember if she's schizophrenic, but she was dealing with some immense mental pain, and and she jumped from a building and killed herself. Right, left him with 4 or 5 kids to raise on his own. So you talk about being able to his big goal is he wants to cure that kind of mental illness. He wants to, and he is when I said that he's serious about it, it's coming from a real place,
Right. And so, and what you just described is, I think, where a lot of people are, a lot of people are at that, high. I'm laughing because here we're at a podcast and my hands are over my head. And I'm like, yeah, so you could totally see it. But you're at that point where you're just feel like you're drowning and there's just so much coming at you. And you have no way to escape, Or I have some clients who are so fucking stressed, they don't even know that they're stressed because that's just how life is for them.
That's how it is. Yeah.
And so, all it takes is like one thing to make the dam break.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of them, are like you, former athlete, like I must do 7 days a week and it must look like this, or I'm not going to get anything. I'm not going to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just work, right? Like work is coming at you like a fire hose and you don't know how to handle it.
Right.
And so for you, you're like, and I don't want people to get to that point where you run into that brick wall and you have to literally tap out. Like that shouldn't always have to be the way you learn.
Right.
Like how, like, in my like big vision, it's like, how do I like help people before they get to that brick wall? Like you're sprinting really hard and you see the brick wall. How do I get you to stop before you smash into it? It's like my vision, right? I know we all have to, I don't know why it is that we all have to hit rock bottom in order to learn,
in order to make that change.
I don't that's like my, like, I want to like unlock that key of like, why do we all have to just literally like get to the point where you just are like flat on the mat before you're like, there has to be a different way.
It's like, why do we learn from pain, as opposed to joy? And that's, moving forward, in our culture, it's just like, you tough it out. And you live your life like that. And it's, it's almost like you're having to change like just the conditioning,
Yes. Yeah.
It's like trying to get through that. And that's a lot.
It's like, you have to like, if you're not like hustling balls to the wall, are you living? And I'm like, and it's like, can't you like hustle easy?
Right. So everybody's just like hard work, hard work pays off. Like, it's just like,
right.
It's like, nah, it's like, yes, hard work does pay off, but
at some point you got to lift your head up and it can't be just 2 weeks out of 52.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So I could talk to you for hours because I'm so fascinated by this, because I was like a former stress ball. And so like for so long, I've tried to fist my way into meditation, and it was breath work that I was like, fuck, this is exactly what I was looking for. Where the hell were you hiding? So since I've been like hinting and talking about breath work, let's do a like, and the beauty about breath work, it can be quick. It can be done in like 5 minutes or less. Yeah. So if you're like someone who's like, I ain't got time, girlfriend, you got 5 minutes. Yeah. Even if you're sitting in your car hiding from your kids.
Hiding from your kids. It's so true.
One of my sister's friends, she used to hide from her kids in her pantry. She would she would go in her pantry and like she would sit there and she put a timer outside the door for like 10 minutes, and she's like, don't bother me for 10 minutes. And she was
oh my goodness.
She would sit in her pantry for like 10 minutes and she would come out and she'd be like, all right, what happened?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Those are the breaks we got to take. Right. The breaks we got to take. So.
All right. So let's do some breath work.
Okay. Well, listen, I since we've been talking about Wim, I do want to teach you his breathwork practice. I want to teach you one round of the Wim Hof Method. All right. And so this is how we're going to do it. Oh, and also, guys, listen, if you're in your cars, like don't do the practice in your car. It's like do the breathing in a controlled space, lay down, like sit somewhere, not in your car. So or you drive in your car.
Thank you for that disclaimer.
Don't do it in the shower, all of these things. So here we go. So I'm just gonna explain, I'm gonna explain one round of the Wim Hof Method looks like. And then we'll practice a bit. Okay. So one round of the Wim Hof Method consists of this. We're going to do 30 breaths. Okay. We're going to inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, equals 1 breath. We're going to do 30 of those. Okay. And on that 30th breath, I want you to take a big inhale, And we're going to exhale the air out. Okay. And we're going to hold that exhale out for as long as you can. Don't worry, I'm going to cue you through this.
Okay.
I'm going to cue you through it. So on that 30th breath, we take a big inhale, exhale the air out, and then we're going to hold that exhale out for as long as you can, right? And then as soon as you feel the need to take a breath, you take a big inhale in, and you're going to hold that for 15 seconds, okay? And that consists of one round of the Wim Hof method, okay? So Kim, what I want you to do, because a lot of people get tripped up on that, on holding that exhale out, right? So right now, I want you to just take like 5 breaths, right? Just in through the nose, out through the mouth. They look like this, or they sound like this.
Let me get closer to the microphone. So
Yeah.
it kind of sounds like a porno.
Right. You're going to take one more. Okay. How's that feel?
Good.
Okay. Excellent. Oh, what I want you to do is, so we can practice this breath hold, right? I'm going to have you take a big inhale in through the nose, and I'm going to ask you to sigh out that exhale. So it sounds like this. You take a big inhale. And then, yep. You don't have to put, so we're going to hold the breath out, right?
Okay.
So on the bottom of that exhale. So at the bottom of that sigh, right? It's super comfortable. It's super nice to just kind of hold right there, right? So try it one more time, right? So you take a big inhale in, sigh it out, and hold at the bottom of that sigh.
Yep.
So just hold your breath, right? And then we're going to take a big inhale in, hold at the top, and exhale. Okay. Cool. So listen, we're going to do 30 of those. We're going to do 30 of those breaths. I'll cue you. And we'll see how we feel after we come out on the other side.
All right.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Here we go. You can close your eyes. And I'll count you in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. There we go. That's 5. Here we go. Nice job. Big inhales. Let go on those exhales. Here we go. That's 10. Here we go. Nice job. Full breaths. Here we go. It's 15. Here we go. Halfway there. Nice job. That's 20. We got 10 more. Here we go, Kim. Nice. Full in. 5 more. Here we go. 4, 3. Here we go. 2 more. 2. All right, here we go on this last one. Big inhale. Sigh it out. We're gonna just hold at the bottom. You don't have to squeeze the air all the way out. Just hold, just hold. Get super relaxed. Relax those shoulders. As soon as you feel the urge to breathe, take a deep breath in. Hold for 15 seconds. Here we go. Hold. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax.
Wow. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How you doing?
Oh my God. Oh my, I'm told you guys know I don't fake anything. Whoa. That, like, dude, if you're having like a day, I'm not even having a day. And I'm like, that felt amazing. I haven't really done shit all day. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, breathwork is the real deal. So you're probably what I'm going to do is when I play this back, I'm going to put in the show notes exactly where this starts and ends. So like you could just press replay over and over and over again and freaking do that. But if you really want to like deep dive into breathwork, like, did I not find someone who's amazing? Seriously, I've been scouring and I found someone.
Thank you.
That was freaking amazing. I've been looking for that in meditation. Oh, there it is. Done.
You did amazing. You did amazing. So
I'm
just
done.
imagine, you know, my minimum dose, the minimum dose we like to have for people do just to do 3 rounds of it. If you got time, it'll take you like 3 rounds will probably take you like 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm in. Who else wants to be in? I mean, you know, if you guys want to take a deep chill, you know, I'll link her video to the cold plunge in your backyard. I'm just going to stick with cryotherapy on that one. So
no worries.
Before I let you go, I know there's 2 things I want to ask you. One, what makes you feel magical?
So, you know, I was going to say that, you know, I've got like 2 magical powers.
Woo!
Right. And the first one is I've got amazing people around me.
Awesome.
And, you know, like my support is like my magical power, like my inner circle, my family, like they're always striving to be the best possible version of themselves, always seeking, learning, sharing that knowledge. And, you know, they keep me in check. They got my back. Like that's invaluable, you know? And the second one is this breath work.
Oh,
right. It's something that helps me really lead my life with more grace, more ease, and more love, full stop, you know? And I was telling my buddy the other day, I was like, man, we make life so complicated, complicated.
God, yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be that way, you know? And I was like, for me, it's like as simple as like, all I wish for is to love, you know, to be loved and to be at peace. And who I surround myself with and those tools, or the tools that I use, help me achieve that. So, you know, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, and, you know, like I'm down for all of that. But, you know, until the laws of gravity change, like I'm looking for powers that can really keep me at peace no matter what the circumstance is, you know, love up on people and receive that love in return. So those are my magical powers.
I love that. I love that, you know, because I'm a big believer that, you know, you only are as good as the people that you're surrounded by.
Surround yourself with. Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, they either lift you up or they drag you down.
Facts. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that you have a couple of actual breathwork workshops you're in the LA area.
Yeah,
yes?
I'm in the LA area. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have a couple of workshops coming up. And so
Yeah.
what are the dates? And then I'll also make sure you guys, I will definitely put this in the show notes for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've actually got a Wim Hof workshop coming up. I'm co-hosting with a buddy of mine. He's a master trainer at this stuff, which is fantastic. Oh, that's my little doggy. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, she terrorizes the male guy when he comes up, but then like when we see him in the street, she's like, "Oh, hello."
Right.
She acts all big and tough. But anyway, so that's happening on the 22nd. We're doing a fundamentals workshop on the 22nd of this month of May, and on the 23rd we're doing an advance. So, if you want to dive deep into the Wim Hof Method and kind of get the science and stuff behind it, and get into some cold water, definitely check that out. And I'll have that on my Insta stuff and all my like social media stuff.
Awesome. So for those folks who are living in the LA area, or maybe you just want to take a little trip.
We can do that now.
Right. We can do that now. So make sure again, the link is going to be in the show notes. So check it out. I got to tell you, like, ever since I've kind of been diving down this whole breathwork thing, in my head, I'm like, I need another certification. Like, I need a hole in my head, but just for my own, knowledge, it just seems like such a great little tool. Like, I mean, seriously, just like that, literally 2 minutes that we just did felt amazing. So I can't imagine if I did it 3 more times. Like, I'd probably be like, oh my God, I think I saw God.
And you can, yeah.
Right. So
that's real talk.
So give it a try. Like, I mean, some of you guys are like stressed to the max, and it doesn't have to be that way.
100%. And, the other thing is, guys, I just wanted to add, like, just go find these go find the practices that vibe with you. Like, there is no one way, right? Yes. And you don't have to be a monk to dedicate your life, to figuring all this stuff out. Like, there are cheat codes. Like, you can, you can get there faster. And, the thing that I like to stress to my friends and, anybody that I come across is, like, every effort counts, right? So no matter how small, like, if all you got is 5 minutes, it counts.
Oh my goodness. I love that. You have given me so I don't know if I take notes when I write with everyone. So you've given me like all these little sound bites.
Great. I'm here to help.
Yes, this was, oh my gosh. This is like everything I could have like imagined it to be, and then some. So
excellent.
Thank you for taking that cold plunge in order for me to find you.
You're so welcome.
All right. So ladies, please make sure you give that breathwork a try, and like, give us a shout out. Like, make sure, this is the perfect lead in. Make sure you follow her on Instagram and like tag her, like, give the breathwork a try, tag her, and let her know how you felt. What is your Instagram? It's
Breath with Breia.
Breath with Breia. So yeah, make sure you tag her on Instagram. I'll put all of her socials in the show notes. But this has just been absolutely fabulous. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.